DJ Vlad interviewed this guy from a crime family, and he really hates Fat Joe, and he took a large percentage of his interview and used it to expose Fat Joe.
Well, you had a situation with Fat Joe.
Yeah. You believe this? Yeah, he got my YouTube page taken down, man. He's all mad because, you know.
Whenever I hear an accusation like this, I need proof. Because people, for the most part, don't really understand how YouTube, like nobody can really get your page taken down, to be honest, right? Unless they send like copyright strikes. Now, unless Fat Joe sent copyright strikes to him directly and he knows, yo, this is from Fat Joe, then I understand how he would know. But if he is assuming, hey, I made videos about Fat Joe, I got hit with community guidelines, so hence Fat Joe is the one who got it taken down, that's not always the case, and that's not always true, and it's not that easy. Like, YouTube has a system where somebody can't just come and say, hey, get us paid. No, it's not that easy. If that was the case, these corporations will have a lot of our pages taken down and clapped, right? It would have to be direct copyright strikes for him to see it. But a lot of people make this mistake, and I see a lot of people accuse others of getting their page taken down or getting them a strike when in fact, no, like the system just flagged you.
He wants to run his mouth. Listen, it's like this, like there's genres, right? Everybody has their own genre. You know, I see like he goes after, you know, people and stuff like that. And then he's sitting down with Joey Molino, who, you know, everyone knows I can't stand. And he wanted to look cool for Joey and just jumped out there and called Johnny A-Light names and things like that. Excuse me. And I did some digging on him. And a lot of people were coming forward. A lot of people hit me up from the Bronx and like, yo, you know, Fat Joe has, you know, a lot of people said he was a rat. I says, okay, well, send it to me.
This is not the first time I heard this, to be honest. I'm old enough to remember during the pandemic, the paperwork was starting to surface, but Fat Joe actually quickly hopped on live and spoke on it and debunked it, right? Like Fat Joe said your paperwork was fake. It was fabricated. He don't even know the people, you know, who the paperwork is about. Like somebody essentially like used whiteout and then wrote in his name, but you know, there's no truth to it whatsoever. So the snitching allegations that this dude is attempting to bring up during the VladTv interview essentially has already been debunked by Fat Joe, because after this Fat Joe, I guess, press conference to address the snitching allegations, I haven't really heard much of it before this interview.
Let's get to it. Okay. Joe Crack the Dawn has never been a rat in his life, has never told on a person in his life. I kill myself before I tell on somebody. Let's be clear about that, right? Now, with that being said, you have to realize, whether you know it or not, I'm at another level in my life. I worked very, very hard to get to where I'm at. So I have friends, the biggest in the world, the biggest in the game, hitting me up. Yo, Joe, don't respond to these people. You bigger than that. Yo, Joe, don't this and this and that. They're trying to bring you down. This is the most fabricated, false paperwork I've ever seen in the history of mankind. This is like disgusting. Now, those names you see on there are actual people. Those people really went to jail for 20 years. You guys and your friends was locked up with them. You never heard Fat Joe ever talk. They don't even know me. Those guys on that paper, I never met them. They don't know me. So you put a little whiteout on a piece of paper and you write Joseph Cartagena's name. And you guys break my heart if you fall for that. You guys are disgusting. Because I am the one guy who's successful and still walk these streets to show you that there's no difference.
Nobody has came forward since that particular interview to provide any type of additional proof to prove that paperwork was real. So when you're this dude called Gene and you bring this up during the VladTv interview, you can kind of even hear it in Vlad's tone, like, bro, you're losing credibility, right? Because you bring it up as if it's real and you bring it up as if Fat Joe got actual paperwork. Now, again, I can't speak for if Fat Joe got paperwork out there. All I can say is after Fat Joe gave that explanation, nobody else has came forward with compelling evidence. Vlad's tone was, I don't believe this, right? And if you're bringing something up that has essentially been debunked or reacted to or talked about, and you don't bring anything new, it kind of hurts your credibility. So I feel like this dude, Gene, like made an error by even like beginning or starting off with the quote unquote snitch accusation because everything he said after that just kind of got discredited as hate.
I started getting paperwork sent to me and things like that, and I started posting on him. He's commented on my Instagram, you know, starting, and I'm going back and forth with him. And then I did something on YouTube on him, on my thing I was just, you know, playing around on, and he reported me and got me taken down. You know, so he couldn't handle it, you know, the stuff that I was putting out about him. They said that he cooperated in 1991 on a case, and there's always been bad word on him, from what I was being told by a lot of guys from his area that were reaching out to me. You know what I mean? And they said how he left Big Pun's son, how he left the family in a shelter, took all their money, you know, just a bad person. And, you know, he claims to be this great guy. And he.
To his credit, Big Pun's wife has came forward and accused Fat Joe of something very similar. They claim that Fat Joe is taking all the money from like the royalties or something of that sort regarding Big Pun. They're not really getting money. Fat Joe responded back claiming he gave him a lot of money. They used it all up. There's no more money left. Right, and they essentially have used up all the money. So I don't know the truth regarding that. Like I don't know the books. I haven't did no deep dive into the Fat Joe and Big Pun royalty split. But to his credit, he's not lying about that because Big Pun's wife have confirmed that.
He's just not. You know what I mean? He's a total fraud. You know, he never cracked an egg in his life. This guy, you know, sings about gangsters, raps about things that we all have done in our lives. Him and Jadakiss never did any of that stuff. You know, they're just rappers. You know what I mean? So that's my whole thing. Like, you know, you're rapping about what other people did around you, maybe, not what you did. You know, you didn't rob a whole gym. You know, you didn't these fake stories you tell. You know, everyone laughs at you. Literally laughs at him. He said he robbed the whole gym. Everyone helped him carry the stuff back. Like, come on, Vlad. Bro, like, come on. It's absurd, the things that are coming out of his mouth. He beat up the karate. He's just ridiculous, bro. You know, he's just trying to be down so hard. It just looks sad almost, you know? It does.
Well, me and Fat Joe, we go back to the mixtape days. I know there's always been rumors and so forth. I remember Cuban Link had this whole paperwork thing that he released on Fat Joe, and Fat Joe actually addressed it and said, yeah, I know some of these people that are mentioned, but this paperwork is fake. And then Cuban Link came back and said, yeah, I don't know if it's real or not. It might be fake. So right. I don't know if it's the same paperwork or not, but I've never known Fat Joe to cooperate. Listen, he's been on my show a few times. These days, he doesn't do my show anymore. I don't think we're on the best of terms based on some of the things he said, but that doesn't take away that I've never heard of him cooperating.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you. And there's real ones and there's fake ones, and I always keep it real. He's a total fraud.
Oh, but you can't just bypass over that, though. Vlad brought up the fact that, no, that paperwork was fake. The person who was like kind of like disseminating it, they came back and said they can't confirm if it's real or not. And you completely bypass over that to get right back to hate. And no, address that. Why do you believe he snitched? What proof do you have he snitched? What paperwork do you have that he snitched? Because snitching is a bad jacket on somebody, bruh. Especially somebody from the quote unquote streets or like a rap. Snitching is a bad jacket for a rapper, right? So if you're gonna make that accusation, for Vlad to say all of that and debunk it, and then you completely skip over what Vlad said to get right back to hating, nah, bro, like that's flawed, bro. Again, I've been hard on Fat Joe on this channel, right? Because Fat Joe has been on some BS in the past, but this is not fair, bro. Like you can't lie on somebody to this degree.
All right, I'll be honest with you. Look, you have a lot of rappers that, like Casanova, I was in MDC Brooklyn when he was in the building. He was shaking the building. He was cutting people and shit. He's crazy. He's a real gangbanger. He raps about stuff he was really doing. You know what I mean? These guys, a lot of them are not what they say they are. You know, they're just rapping to sell records. And that's not my genre, but don't get me wrong. Like, I know a lot of them. I was friendly with Chinks Drugs. You know, I used to go out with him. I had beef with Charlie Rock, the original one, Want to Be a Baller, Shot Caller. You know, I had my fair share run-ins with rappers and things, but I know for a fact he's not what he says he is. The guy Pistol Pete around him is the one that he, sucks off, and, that's why he thinks he's tough. And that's pretty much how I feel about him. He's making songs about rat and mafia stuff. He has nothing to do with organized crime. If he was a crack dealer, big deal, everyone sold drugs in the hood. Like, it's nothing impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not impressed. You know what I mean? You're talking about guys that, sat on humans, hunted them, killed them, did a lot of different things than what he's rapping about or, bragging about in his rap songs. And Jadakiss, another one, never cracked an egg. These guys never cracked egg.
Me personally, whatever this dude says about Fat Joe, I take with a grain of salt. I'm not saying he's not credible. I'm not saying y'all shouldn't listen to him. I'm just saying, me personally. Now, Fat Joe be lying about them stories. Like, bro, like we know that, right? Like, Fat Joe is a professional capper. He lies a lot. But just this dude, like just the manner in which this dude has his heart on for like Fat Joe, I gotta take whatever he says with a grain of salt. I did some research and I went back a few years, and apparently, this dude had beef with a family member or somebody with a similar last name as him because this person took a picture with Fat Joe. That's how obsessive this dude is with Fat Joe. He is beefing with a potential family member because the family member got a picture with Fat Joe.
In your previous videos about Jordan Molino and Gene Burrell's banter between one another, there has been a new recent feud between them. Now it involves one of Skinny Jordan Molino's guests that has been on his podcast. Jordan Molino had rapper Fat Joe, also known as Fat Joe the Gangster or Joey Crack, at the Skinny Joey's Cheesesteak in South Philadelphia on 3020 South Broad Street. Jordan Molino has interviewed Fat Joe along with his co-host Little Snuff on the podcast The Skinny with Jordan Molino and Little Snuff. This dates back 7 months ago on January 2nd, 2025. Fat Joe, who's been a notable rap star since the late 1990s and the early 2000s from the group Terror Squad, and has been the face of many different controversies, let alone his own different allegations that's been used against him. However, he's still being regarded as a respected rapper within his own community and still has notoriety within the hip-hop space. Now, Fat Joe also has his own podcast, Joe and Jada, with the rapper Jadakiss, and still has maintained to give varied views on high prolific cases when it comes to hip-hop storytelling and many more. However, that rubs the former associate of the Milano crime family, Gene Burrell, the wrong way. Recently, Gene Burrell had his own podcast, and on his own YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to hear more from his own channel, he described that Fat Joe is a rat and how can Joey Molino, who hates rats, associate himself with them.
We got to start all over.
I want to say something.
I got a great deal of respect for these guys.
I'm going to say this right now. Ready? Fat Joe is with Joey Molino on Snuff. I thought that they don't hang out with rats because Fat Joe's a rat. So I'm confused on that one. So Joey Molino, you better go do your homework because you were standing there with a rat. Fat Joe is a rat with his fake stories talking about he bullied the whole school.
Oh my God. Some of them helped me carry the check.
Wait, you heard these bullshit stories by Fat Joe, this bullshit up? He goes, I was the bully. I went to school and bullied the whole class and made them all bring my food. Like, shut the up, you idiot. Oh my God. These guys these guys just start making up stories. He's standing there with the two midgets. So I thought you don't hang out with rats, but Fat Joe's a rat. I mean, Joey Molino, you're a rat, so it's the same thing. So I think it's hysterical that Fat Joe, the bullshitter, what was that interview he said? He goes, wait, I went to school and they helped him.
See what I mean when I say like it just comes across as obsessive? Dude is talking about Fat Joe in like 480p with like a blank wall. And he's discussing Fat Joe as if they got personal beef when it doesn't appear that way. It appears this dude got a problem with Fat Joe, I guess his antics or Fat Joe's as a public figure, and he's giving his opinion on Fat Joe and forming in his head they got personal beef when they really don't. This right here is obsession. But y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this, man. Do y'all believe him? Do y'all take his word for it? Again, I'm not saying y'all should not take his word for it. I'm not saying y'all should not believe him. I'm not saying he's not credible. I'm just saying, me personally, I'm going to take whatever he says with a grain of salt, okay? I'm going to see you guys in this next video right here, somewhere on my screen. If you enjoyed this video, where I break down, apparently Chud the Builder has been released from prison, and he's already causing chaos. I'm going to see you guys in this Chud the Builder video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.